Equity. Equity will make you rich. Equity in a business that has value will make you richer than you've ever imagined. Let me explain equity, because I didn't understand it when I started my business. What the heck is equity? Why do I care about equity in a business? Okay, let me explain. So if you own a business that has value, that means that there are companies out there that want to buy that type of business. Okay, usually that's private equity. Private equity buys the majority of small businesses. Okay, if somebody grows them, private equity gobbles up with other businesses that they've bought just like yours. They package it up and then they sell it to a bigger private equity company. Okay, why should you care about this? Because if you start the right business, you grow it, private equity will buy your business for a multiple of its profit, other known as EBITDA. Okay, so if I grow my business, I have a profit of 5 million, and let's say my business sells for an industry average. In my industry, I own an insurance agency, so usually it's about 10 to 15 times EBITDA. Let's just say 10 times, right? Grow my business to 5 million in profit at a 10 times multiple, it will sell for about 50 million, okay? So that's insane. Why would somebody buy that much? Why would somebody buy a business that much? Because their business, private equity, is bigger. So the bigger you are, the higher your multiple is, because there's less likelihood that your business is going to go under because you have thousands and thousands of clients, okay? So let's say they're trading at, let's make it easy. Let's say they're trading at 20 times. That's possible, right? 20 times EBITDA. So they're trading at 20 times. They buy your 5 million at 10 times EBITDA versus 50. But when they run that 5 million of profit through their private equity company, it is worth 100 million. Okay, so you can see how they buy me for 50. I'm jumping in joy because I sold my business for 50 million. They bought my business, the revenue and profit run through, it's worth 100 million. So their valuation on paper has gone up to 100 million. So you can see how it's a great deal. Even if it's 15 times, right? They're still making that money. They're still showing a valuation higher. And what a lot of these private equity companies do is they pay you a portion of your purchase price in cash and a portion of that purchase price in equity in their private equity company. So, right, let's say you sell for 50. You say, hey, I want 30 million in cash, and then I want 10 million to stay in the private equity company that they're hoping to double. So then maybe they double it and get it to 20. It's very common. Usually they want 2 to 3 times when they exit. So the other 10 million is deferred compensation, which basically means as long as your business does within a standard deviation of what it did before, you will get the rest of this money. We don't want to just give you the money and then you turn around and leave and the business doesn't grow. Private equity usually wants you to stick around for 3 to 5 years after you sell the business, okay? So that's how the equity works, is they say, hey, we're agreeing to this price, but there is a stipulation here that if you screw up and you lied to us or something happens, we're gonna hold on to that money. Okay, and there's also bonuses tied to it that if you sell to a private equity company and let's say you grow your business, God forbid your business continues to grow and you hit these metrics, they will give you either more money in cash or more money in equity. So the how do people get rich? Well, if I left that 20 million in the private equity, let's say I left 10 million in the private equity, and let's say they sold at 1.5 times. Usually it's 2 times. So let's say they sold at 1.5 times. So now my 10 million is 15, right? Okay, I take 7 back, I leave 7 in, right? Okay, cool. 7's in there, we do it again. Now it sells for double, so 14. So you can see how as once you get, this is why all the rich people are in private equity. That's why, because it's insane, the model of the valuations of how it just continues to snowball up. So how do you get involved? How do you get involved in private equity? How do you get to a point where you can sell your business for a massive multiple and get that massive payday and continue to get equity from a company that's going to continue to pay you? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to start the right business. You need to start a business that can be sold. A lot of businesses can't be sold, okay? Unfortunately, you look at a painting company, very hard to sell a painting company for a multiple of the profit unless it's franchised, massive painting company, huge. Then a private equity company might be like, okay, we can potentially get into it. But a local painting company, you're not going to sell for a multiple. So you need to make sure that you're selling, that you're starting the right business, that you're aligned with the right business that is sellable. Because if not, there's no value and you essentially have a high paying job. There's nothing wrong with a high paying job. There's nothing wrong with a business that can't be sold. Make sure, though, if you have a business that can't be sold, it's a high-paying business, and you take that money and you put it into a business or real estate or stocks that have value. Okay? So now, if you haven't started a business, I would strongly recommend that you only start businesses that can be sold. Which businesses can be sold? Great question. Usually, if you look it up, painting companies for sale, they don't go for much. Insurance agency, I own an insurance agency, they go for a multiple of the revenue, multiple of the profit. Property managers sell for a good amount of money. Dental offices sell for a good amount of money. Laundromats, it's kind of fixed there, but they are if you have a chain of them. So if you start doing the math, what's a good business for you to start? What's a great business for you to get going is one that can be sold. So on my channel, I talk about businesses you can buy, businesses that you can start, entrepreneurship, scaling, money. So always give me a subscribe here. I'll be providing helpful content. If you're wanting to know what business should I start, where should I get going, I have resources for that. I have a $5 book, Your Next Business, how to find your business idea, how to make sure it's aligned, how it can be scaled, how it can be sold, making sure you're starting the right business. I have a business idea blueprint course for $20 where you can enroll in that course, and it's more in depth than my book. Define yourself a business idea that actually is a need in your community. I also have calls with entrepreneurs. I charge $100 for 30 minutes, $200 for an hour, where I go through customized design with how to find you a specific business idea for your specific needs. Custom, 100% tailored to you. So as always, if you're wanting to get equity, get you some freaking equity. I always say that, get equity. Take the next step today and figure out what you want to do. But start a business. If you're starting a business today, make sure it can be sold, because if not, you're not going to get that equity play. And the equity play is where it's all at, baby. So all right, y'all, take care and like and subscribe.